with another live training session and live Q&A. So this time I'm looking at ISO 27001, clause 4.4, the Information Security Management System. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to join. As always, if you are in the mood and you are there is live chat. So you can leave me a comment, you can leave me a question and I'll answer it. But yeah, feel free to engage. So what are we going to do? We're going to go through ISO 27001 clause 4.4, the Information Security Management System, the ISMS. I'm going to show you how to implement it fast, right? Quick, easy. So I'm going to give you a fish. I'm going to feed you, you know, my analogy for now. And then once I've done that, we're going to have a little bit of a look behind the scenes and see how you would do it and how you could do it properly. If you're a consultant, how you can do it as a consultant, and really do a little bit of a deep dive. So you've got two sets, right? You've got how to do it quickly, how to do it easily, how to do it low cost, low impact, and then you've got a bit more of a deep dive as we go through. So please do join. Whether or not you want to comment on my poster is this way because the camera's the other way around. If you want to comment on my poster, comment on these, whether or not you're finding any value, just add me some support or some thumbs up. That would be very much appreciated. So as we go through, let's make a start. First of all, I'm going to give you some resources. So before I give you that fish, before I show you how to do it in a couple of minutes, nice, quick and easy, I'm going to give you some resources. The first resource that we're going to do, you're going to come across the High Table website. I'm Stuart Barker, the ISO 27001 Ninja, author of the Ultimate ISO 27001 Toolkit and the Ultimate ISO 27001 resource on the internet, the High Table website, hightable.io. So here you can see, okay, I'm logged in. That's okay. I'm logged in. So here you can see that you've got all of the resources that you're going to need. Every resource that you're going to need is on the High Table website. Absolutely no problem. For every single clause, for every single control, we have a blog, we have a deep dive. Within that deep dive, we go through what it is, how to implement it, how to audit it, 10 steps to implement, 10 steps to audit, what an audit is going to look for, what the common mistakes are and how to avoid them, a detailed training video, right? So again, me doing a professional training video. So to access those, you come across onto the website, learn or resources, depending on what where the website is. You choose 27,001 clauses for the clauses, Annex A for the Annex A. And within there, you're presented with all of the clauses and all of that level of detail. And that's going to bring up for you this, which is a deep dive guide, which we are going to come back to in a couple of minutes. Right. So I don't believe anybody is with me. Absolutely no problem at all. I get more views on the follow-up and I get more comments on the follow-up. As I said before, because I'm the ISO 27001 Ninja, I pop up and I do these lives at really random times, right? I hurt myself because I don't give you pre-warning. It's just I'm in the mood and I'm going to go live and I'm going to go ahead and do it. So let's give you the answer. How do we do it? First of all, what is it? So ISO 27001, clause 4.4, the Information Security Management System. When we're looking at the Information Security Management System, clause 4.4, this is it. This is the heart of the standard, right? ISO 27001 is an information security management system. It's an information security management system standard. It's not an information security standard. It isn't necessarily designed to make you more secure. It isn't a technical standard. It's not a security technical standard. It's a management system standard. And what clause 4.4 is saying is, have a management system, right? I mean, it's literally as straightforward as that. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. Let's read that formal definition anyway. So the formal definition is the organization shall establish, implement, maintain, and continually improve an information security management system, including the processes needed and their interactions in accordance with the requirements of this document. So what does it mean by this document? That's the actual standard itself. In the 2022 version update, they changed very little, actually, in terms of the 27001 part. But in the 27001, they changed it. It references itself as this document now. It used to say as this standard, now this document. It's trivialities, right? Ninja level dullness. But basically, it says, yeah, have yourself an information security management system. So the mandatory requirements when we go for certification are clauses 4 through 10. Clauses 4 through 10 is the management system. It's about understanding who our stakeholders are. It's about understanding what internal and external issues are. It's about defining what the scope is. It's about looking at the risk assessment against that scope. It's about putting in a risk treatment plan around that. It's about making sure that we've got resources, that we've got competent staff allocated. Then it's looking at things like having an ongoing management review so that we can follow a structured agenda. It's about putting in place continual improvement and looking at things like internal audit. So there isn't anything actually technical in the standard itself, neither in this particular clause or in the standard. I will in a future video explain to you where the controls fit in the Annex A and why people over-egg it and overcomplicate it a little bit. So let's look at how we can satisfy that. It isn't going to come as any shock, right? I mean, this absolutely falls in my wheelhouse, right? The way that you implement this, if you're a small business, you're starting this for the first time, you're an AI, a tech startup, you're going to come and you're going to get yourself a copy of the ISO 27001 toolkit, right? The ISO 27001 toolkit for $200 without support currently, or $400 with a bunch of support in there in terms of a one-to-one with me and a weekly Q&A is going to give you the answer. Everything that we go through on all of the videos that I do on my YouTube channel, all of the lives that I do, take artifacts, take documents from the 27001 toolkit, and we use them, and I show you how easy and how simple it is to deliver it. So we're not going to go through that toolkit, right? We're not going to go through what's involved in it, Stuart, because if you come across, go to toolkit and then select the small business edition, there's a video, right? I'm going to surprise you. Many of you may have seen it. And in that, I do a very detailed walkthrough of how it's structured and all the documents that make it up. But trust me, it's very easy. It's very straightforward. To support that, I don't know if many of you actually on my channel have the consultant edition, right? So the consultant edition of the toolkit is a licensed version for you to white label it and for you to deploy it in clients. I've sold around 2,000 of these. Price is a little bit more expensive because you can use it on all of your clients, all of your engagement clients as a consultant on an engagement. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it's still around about a half a day to a day of your day rate for all of the documentation. And the benefit that consultants get is I keep it up to date when the standard changes. So anything that gets released, you get those updates. I give you some additional Q&A. I give you some one-to-one time, and I give you some support around it. So we're not going to go too deep today, other than to say, if you are going to implement an information security management system, if you are going to satisfy the requirements of ISO 27001 clause 4.4, your starting point is going to be to get a copy of the toolkit and then follow along in all of these training videos that I go through. My advice for any organization that's starting out is start with that toolkit, right? It is going to get you platform ready, right? So at some point, if you're going to go down the secure frame, high comply, Drata, Vanta, ISMS Online, I think I said, but you know, any of those platforms, right? They're all going to require information. They're all going to require you to have done the work. So you're not going to lose anything. For $200, $400 with some support, you're going to get everything you need to have a stage 1 ready, fully compliant information security management system backed by one-to-one with me, weekly Q&A sessions with me in the price, all of these follow along live Q&As, over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel, and this level of detail in every single blog and guide that I do. So that's going to be your answer. At some point, you may want a platform. I'm not going to argue with that. I've got no issue with that. They do have some benefits, but purely from an ISMS, Information Security Management System point of view, Toolkit is absolutely fine. It's going to be absolutely golden. It's going to get you what you need to be. As I say, for consultants, if you're deploying it into clients, you don't want to have documents that are corrupted with previous clients' data. You're not sure whether or not it meets the standard or not. Then you can join 2,000 other consultants globally that have are using my toolkit. And then when anything changes, I update that within there. So nice and easy, right? ISO 27001 clause 4.4. I didn't expect any comments. I don't expect any comments. That's giving you the fish. That's saying spend $200, $400 with some support, make the problem go away, no issue. Your build time is around about 6 to 8 hours to have that information security management system in place. One pass through all of those processes. Couple of days maybe elapse for you to organize that and get people in place. You're going to be stage 1 ready. You're going to have an effective management system. You're going to be absolutely golden. There is going to be work to do on the Annex A. That's not the purpose of today's call. So we will come back to that in future lives. If you've got any questions, reach out to me now, right? Ask me. This is your time. Anything to do with an information security management system, anything to do with platforms, toolkits, templates, any question that's going through your mind. Can you really build it in 6 to 8 hours? Yes, you can. But yeah, be sure to reach out. I'll do a final finish off here with a little bit of feeding you some more information. So when you are going to get into the weeds of this, you come onto the 4.4 blog. It is going to show you a lot of like super high level about what the concepts are, key takeaways that you've got. Obviously, we do that deep dive into what it is. We talk about the purpose and its definition. I give you the guidance on the applicability. If you are a small business or a tech startup or an AI company, I do give you that guidance. I talk you through how to implement it, the pros and cons, the 3 different ways that you can do it. So you can write it yourself, you can buy a toolkit, or you can engage with a consultant. Okay, the 4th one, you can buy a platform, but you still got a lot of work to do, right? So it's not really, it is kind of the answer, but it's not the answer because you've got stuff to do up front. Then I give you 10 steps. So for those that are really, really wanting to get into the detail, a 10-step implementation guide for you, an overview of the templates and how you can fast track that. I give you a very detailed guide on how to audit it. I have a lot of people on my channel and on my media that are professionals who do what I do for a living. I'm an ISO 27001 lead auditor. Whether you're starting that journey, whether you're looking to move into this world, whether you're conducting an internal audit or a gap analysis, I give you those 10 steps, a 10-step audit guide. So a lot of detail on how to audit that. I give you guidance on how to pass it. So again, based on my experience and experiences of other professionals, how are you going to pass it? What is an auditor going to look for? What are the top 3 mistakes that people make and how can you avoid them and fix them before it happens? I do a mapping to other relevant standards and then a very detailed FAQ. There's a detailed FAQ answering the most common questions that you've got. So you can either fast track, buy the toolkit, solve the problem, couple of $100, no issue, one-time fee, access to me. We're on this journey together. You can do it that way. You can write it yourself. You can get yourself a template. You can get yourself a platform. No issue with that whatsoever, and still follow along with my guidance. And or you can go through that detailed blog that breaks it down for you, giving all levels of detail that you're ever going to need. So today's Q&A was a quick one, right? Because nobody's asking me any questions, which is always good. I take that as a sign that I'm doing my job well. If I'm explaining it well and you're not asking questions, then your questions have been answered. I'm going to be doing a few spicing it up, right? So in the next couple of Q&As that I'm going to look at, I'm going to look at things like how to do internal audit. I get asked a lot around that. I'm going to do Q&As around how to do risk assessment, how to run a risk register, risk management, risk treatment. Obviously 27001 is a risk-based system, so we're going to go off a little bit off piste rather than covering the clauses directly. We'll go a little bit topic based, do some conversations with you in Q&A around the costing of this and how you implement it. So my name is Stuart Barker, the ISO 27001 Ninja, author of the ultimate ISO 27001 toolkit. Thank you for watching this live on Catch Up. We have covered ISO 27001 clause 4.4, the ISMS, the Information Security Management System. So until the next live session, the next Q&A, peace out. End stream. End stream.